Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ladies, understand something. The top end of a woman's weight is 145 pounds. Okay. My mother's 5'9", and she was 145 pounds until she was 50. That's the top end of your weight, because there should be about a 40-pound difference between you and men.
Basically, if the guy is rich, what ends up happening is the lawyer contacts the person and be like, hey, you know, your name gonna be all in the paper, so you might as well just settle out of court.
I can recognize talent. Even if I don't agree with the politics, a lot of the politics that was underlying in the show and some of the sentiments he was trying to share, I recognize artistry when an artist is present.
Yes, this is the definition of absolutely cooked. We'll never go back and take a look at her bad decision and take accountability for any of that.
Because there is powerful people in the industry, somehow there is a different law that applies to them. And I agree with that assessment.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me they're tired of them praying on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their palms would bleed, begging that generations remember our story.
Good morning. Peace and blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Welcome to the King's Morning Table. We're going to jump straight into it. The male loneliness crisis. So y'all understand, I'm an avid watcher of a lot of podcasts, a lot of reaction channels, content creators that cover these type of discussions on a regular basis. And being as someone who's partaken in this exchange of dating and engaging with the opposite gender, I've seen a lot. I've seen almost as much as a large majority. Not everybody here has traveled the world and seen different cultures, especially when it comes to like the dynamics of the household. Do they embrace one another's characteristics? Do they embrace traditional values and things of that nature? One thing is for sure and certain, and I'm going to get to that here in a second. First thing and foremost, I want to say, I hope everybody enjoyed their July. I hope you were safe. I hope you got to spend it with your family, friends, and loved ones, first and foremost. Shout out to my poets, writers, all of that. And yeah, do me a solid. Make sure that you repost, share, let the people know that we are on. I will be spinning back later on this evening for the late night tip. So this is where we at. Is there a crisis in the manosphere? Are men more lonely now than ever? Is it a problem? Is it noticeable? Whose fault is it? How do we solve it? Where's the solutions? Well, I'm gonna give you my honest take. For one, I firmly believe in holding everybody accountable for the condition that we are in, man and woman. It doesn't just directly tie into one gender, you know what I'm saying? The media has convinced the world and the people that one shoe and one size fits all. The media has told you that you have to be a 304 to be liberated. The world has told you that you have to be a drug dealer to get respect. The world has told you that you have to have $1 million in your account to be a protector and a provider. Social media has ruined the lives of a lot of people directly and indirectly, and you don't even realize it until you get to that good old age in life. Then you start to reflect on every choice you made, everybody that you laid down with, all the horrible decisions you made with your money, and you finally come to the conclusion, once there's nobody around anymore to tell you about your flaws and your weaknesses and your strengths, people pass away, get arrested, get unalive, they meet people, get married. Their seasons change, yours remain the same. You go one path, they go another. You're left alone with nothing but your thoughts, your pride, and your ego. All you got now is remembrances of good and bad days that you had with people that were temporary. Lessons to be learned the hard way. Regrets, scars, and wounds from warring with your flesh and warring with your spirit. And the reason why we have to look at it this way is because in retrospect, it is humans who have conditioned other humans to look at the world the way that we look at it. You realize how often you actually scroll social media, you look at these apps and these comment sections, and you see people arguing and getting defensive and expressing their frustrations with the opposite gender about where they're lacking and lack of accountability and lack of this and lack of that. Y'all going back and forth with your counterparts, your Adams and your Eves. That's all you're doing. You're going against your Adams and your Eves. All over what? What are you really arguing with the other person for? What is all the hostility about? Why are you so bitter and so upset and so angry at the decisions that men and women both make? These men that they practice with a free spirited, nonchalant attitude based on things that were self-taught to them or they were introduced to through generational curses. I put it to you like this: like it or love it, a lot of our parents, they didn't live up or step up in the ways that they should have. And their parents and their parents, somebody didn't stop and really think about why shit. This is really serious. My patterns, my lack of prayer, the people that I date, the people that I open my legs to, the words that I speak out of my mouth, the time that I invest, the energy that I pour into specific things and people, this stuff is going to actually spill over to my offspring. We don't really pay that much attention, nor do we care or emphasize how significant it is. You by yourself going out here, getting in your car, getting your coffee, your cigarettes, your gas, your interactions with pedestrians and folks on your job, how you do business, what you allow your heart to focus on, where you put your spirit, where do you direct all of your time. All that stuff plays a huge role in what tomorrow is going to look like, if there is one, or the week before that, or a year later down the road. The male experience is unlike anything that you could ever try to articulate to the masses. 1 million people in the world could tune in. People with doctorates, degrees, and you still couldn't really understand. And it goes both ways. We are in a state of what do we do? How do we resolve this? Well, first, the only way we're going to be able to resolve any of this is to get to the root cause. The root cause is sin, iniquity, yokes, bondage, oppression. A pattern of generational chaos that has been dumped on everybody that followed after you dump your bull off on the children dump their stuff off from you to theirs, and it keeps going. You're getting upset and angry and arguing back and forth with this person and that person about their experiences and their views, instead of really trying to understand why they are the way they are and how they got to where they are. You're just arguing to argue. Everybody online is just arguing and fighting just to be right or wrong or get defensive. You're not really trying to understand why this shit is the way it is. A video that I did a reaction to recently, I haven't uploaded it on Twitter. Most likely I will, though. The woman expressed, why would I want a marriage or a relationship if I got to work, then come home and work, have sex with you, and take care of the kids? Why would I sign up for that? Here's the problem. You're not signing up for anything. You decided at some point in your life, based on someone telling you or painting this picture, that you don't need a man. If you get a man, you're going to be a slave to a man. And being a slave is not good. That's what the media told you. That's what your family told you. The ones that never ended up getting married, or they failed in their relationships, or they're broken and bruised. So they take out their frustrations on everybody else because they didn't figure it out until they were too old and they got at a stage in life where it was too late for them to correct their problems. So they spill over all of their mess on you. Social media has lied to millions of people. Generational curses, sins, iniquities, rebellious hearts, all of those factors play a huge role in why you are in the position that you are, men and women. I don't have a dog in the fight. It goes on both ends. If we really being honest, none of our men should be drug dealers. None of our men should be pimps. None of our women should be pimped out. None of our women should be soliciting sex for money. We shouldn't have such a Sodom and Gomorrah lifestyle. You do realize that's what we are dealing with, Sodom and Gomorrah. Why do you think these people end up in the situations that they're in? They're there because someone led them astray and lied to them. You don't want to admit that you lied to them. You don't want to admit that you're wrong. You don't want to admit that you need help. Men are lonely for a number of reasons. And I'm going to clear the air. So there's a couple things that you have to understand. A lot of men aren't actually incels, right? There are incels. You see them every day. But there are a lot of men that aren't. The ones that are truly incels, they are mentally not together. They don't have their shit in order. There's a big ass portrait beautifully painted in front of everybody's face. But if you don't know how to interpret what is in front of you, what is going to happen? The guys who are involuntarily celibate, they have the wrong attitude. They're looking at life completely wrong. Look at it like this. If you were doing what you were supposed to be doing in your own walk, your walk, not everyone else's, yours. You honed your craft, your gifts, your talents. You allow God to work with you. You was trusting in him that this ain't for you. Keep it pushing. If you allowed him to do what he was supposed to do in your life, the people that you are supposed to come across, you would absolutely meet them at the appointed time. You wouldn't be so frustrated. You know how I know that? Because you're looking at it like this. There's a longing, there's something that you desire and you need, and you don't have no self-control. You don't know how to control your urges. A lot of the involuntary, non-sexual engagement that these men encounter for weeks, months, years. For one, you're being spared. All right. You're being spared from STDs. You're being spared from jealous men who don't want to share. You're being spared from men who are being manipulated and lied to by women who are acting as if they aren't charlatans, harlots, Jezebels, promiscuous women who sleep with multiple people will pretend that they do not have the same sexual appetite as others. You're being spared from men who are so enveloped in sex and the idea of that person loving them or being only theirs that they can kill you in an instant because the woman betrayed him. She has him thinking that he's the only one, but in reality, she playing with both of y'all. The incel that's frustrated, you're frustrated for the wrong reasons. You're frustrated because you're not getting the type of attention and value for your buck. But I challenge you to ask yourself this. What are you doing to be treated in the ways that you desire to be treated in the first place? I'll wait. See, men and women universally show up for who they want to show up for. Even though we are supposed to show up for everybody equally, that's not the world we live in. Realistically, agape love is universal across the board. You don't pick and choose when you want to be a friend and when you want to be a guide and when you want to be truthful and when you want to love somebody unconditionally. That's not agape. Most people pick and choose based on certain criteria and characteristics that a person has. That determines whether or not they're going to hold you to a certain standard or bypass it and allow you to get away with things that they wouldn't let other people get away with. People are very fickle. Humans are very, very fickle. The more you realize, SM salutes SM. What you got to understand is people only show up or meet you where they are. Christians, the real Christians and the real men and women of God, those real men and women of God, they got that anointing. Do you know what it takes to get to a point to where you can love people who hate you? Do you know what it takes for a person like that to love you, knowing that you sabotaging them, that you stomping on their heart, that you're crazy, you're irrational, you don't have no propensity for reason, but they still know how to love you close up and from a distance, respectfully, pray for you. We're supposed to emulate Jesus, but we don't really represent Jesus the way that we should be representing him. Truth of the matter. God says, ask and you shall receive. Everything from heaven is perfect. Anything here on earth is temporary. What are you really pursuing and chasing after? I'm not bringing you up. You showed up too late. It's crazy. It's absolutely astonishing to me how a single person can absolutely be so confused and conflicted with why we are in the state that we're in. We did this to ourselves. Every single one of us. The men who are labeled as incels, they're not really incels. But you don't really care to understand why they move the way they do. Men and women who operate and practice a certain level of discipline, y'all changed the term. You created your own coping terminology to escape the fact that the reality is people are moving the way they move because the things that they're seeing ain't really worth a damn. Flat out. That's the bottom line. If I see nothing but women who are taught to be gold diggers and streetwalkers, hiding behind the sweet, sweet innocence of their bone structure, height, weight, and tress. And I've seen a million times people get screwed over by that face. It'd be the most beautiful, athletic, bubbly personalities that you ever meet in life. And they be the ones that poison you from the inside out. You end up being a monster later on in life. You turn into something that you never thought that you would ever be. Because you looked at her and you thought, no way could this person cause that much damage. If you want to pull up to the screen, turn your camera on. I'm not bringing you up until your camera on. It's ridiculous. Who wants to get screwed over? There's plenty of men out here that want to be married, that want a family, a household. There's plenty of them that tried their best to do everything right. Some of them have given up. Some of them are turning into Bane from Batman, Dark Knight. They're prepared to embrace the darkness completely because the darkness is what's being advertised. What you're really asking for, is hell in your bosom. You want to be the husband and the wife, or you want to live freely to do what you want to do while in a life insurance plan. You're looking at these dudes with that specific financial cap as policies to cover you just in case they croak out or the relationship doesn't end the way that you would have liked, whatever the case may be. There's There's a lot of selfishness, a lot of arrogance, a lot of ego. Men weren't taught how to stand in the fire. Men are being eliminated, embarrassed, shamed, exposed, but the fault really falls on the proprietors. The fault really falls on the men and women that came before them and didn't highlight the things that were necessary to combat the fuck shit that the government, that social media, that the outside world tries to convince you is really the truth. You think selling drugs and killing black people when you're black is a flex, or killing white people because a white person killed a black person is a flex. You think vengeance is a flex. You think knocking up random chicks and rolling out is a flex. You think sleeping with multiple people at the same time is a flex. You think wearing fancy clothes and jewelry is a flex. You think being loud and obnoxious and combative is a flex. You think being a hoe is a flex. You think getting on social media, shaking and twerking your ass every day is a flex. You think that's conducive to cultivating healthy relationships. You think that's going to motivate men and women to want to take the other gender serious. Do you think it's going to cultivate healthy mindsets? It's going to make people see the worth and value within themselves so that they can treat themselves and everybody around them with the same type of respect? No, you're really actually doing the complete opposite. So you got a combination of men and women, right? The women, they don't know what the fuck a man looks like, and on top of that, they're fickle. Their emotions are fickle. You don't know how to sustain or maintain something that is permanent because you don't know what that shit looks like. You want it one day, the next day you don't want it no more. Don't nobody want to deal with that. The men who try to show you what that's supposed to look like, they're getting obliterated on social media every day because platforms like this, they tell you that he is trying to enslave you. He just wants you barefoot in the kitchen cooking all day. He's making all this money. He ain't got it hard. He ain't got it difficult. You do know that these jobs are dangerous as fuck. You do realize ain't shit easy about climbing the side of a fucking mountain or climbing a 200, 300 foot tower to fix some shit. Is easy. They got to do that shit on a regular basis. You think that's easy? But you're complaining that you got a house and a roof over your head. You ain't worried about the bills. You ain't worried about none of that. So his life is on the line every day, but he got it easy because he don't have to do shit when he get in the house. What's way more difficult? Possibly getting shot, killed in traffic, falling off of a 12-story building, or washing a couple of dishes and doing laundry and being loving and kind to your fucking man when he comes in the house, showing appreciation to him. What's more difficult? Possibly getting electrocuted because you crossed the wrong wires in a light fixture, You might slip on a beam and then plummet to your death because the safety harness, some people have them and some people don't use them at all. Or you sweeping the steps, vacuuming the floor, changing the sheets, couple diapers or something. What's more difficult? You're spoiled. Women are spoiled. They don't appreciate a damn thing. They allow the sweet nothings of absolutely nothing to tell them that what they're doing is right when they know damn well is wrong. You do understand that the people that are making the most money off of us are probably the ones that are lying to us the most. Six Rings, I don't even know why you pulled up in the studio if you ain't gonna get on camera. These people are absolute liars, man. There's so many reasons why we are in the state that we're in. You all have had at least one good guy, one good guy that would have taken care of you. You would never have had to shed a tear in your fucking life unless you were mourning or going to a funeral or graduation or any. You all had one guy that would absolutely adore you, but you think he's weak. He's not tall enough. He's not really your cup of tea. He doesn't offer you a thrill 24 hours a day. It's almost as if they have to perform way more than you do. You complain about doing the tiniest duties. How many videos you get about women uplifting guys? You see a few here and there, but you see way more women talking about how they wish they would have treated that person better. They wish they would have chose him over that person. Look, we spend our youth doing whatever the hell we want to do. When we get older, we know that fun time is over. Now let's go ahead and take somebody serious. I think the hell not. You know how many options there are. You don't want the guys that want you. You want the guys who don't want you. And the guys who are looking at this shit is like, well, either we're just going to remain bitter ass, bum ass dudes who don't amount to shit, or we're going to be the other guy who says, all right, well, let's go ahead and choose option B. Option B is to get in the gym, read more, get therapy, go to another country, travel, see the world, allow God to use them, and let's go ahead and say, well, this ain't for me. I'll go where I'm celebrated. So you do have men who are going to forever be stuck in this cycle because they think they losers. You're only a loser because your lazy ass don't want to do what's necessary to make yourself a winner. Everybody on this planet has the potential to be something great, but only you can decide if you're going to be something more than just somebody who sits on the couch. Do you want to eat Cheetos and all that shit and be 300 pounds? Nobody's telling you what to do. You want to struggle with women all your life and chase after and simp after these motherfuckers who don't give a shit about you, then you can do that all you want. You want to waste all your money on things that don't bring you any joy or happiness, then you can do that. You have every right to. Don't sit here and have issues with somebody else because of your downfalls. You finally showed up on the screen. Hold up.
Salute, sir. How you doing? This afternoon now. We're in the noon time now. How's it going, man? How was your fourth? Let me start off with that. How was your 4th of July?
My fourth was productive. I make the most of all my time. What's the word?
That's great to know, man. Yeah, I mean, I watched some fireworks. You know, did the grill thing, but the main thing is you wanna enjoy your family, man. This stuff, time is precious, man. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Time precious, and when it's gone, it's not coming back, brother. Just know that. So it's about self improvement. You sound like you was discussing some self improvement classes. Is that what we on?
Well, my thing is, I dip my foot in different pockets. The question and the discussion came up about male loneliness. Is it really out of control? But I wanted to cover every little aspect of it as I possibly could. I know, and I said a lot, but just in your opinion, I mean, because you were sitting there for a minute, I don't know how much you heard. I'm curious because I know we'll end up talking about this shit off camera. I would rather you air out your grievances now. What's your opinion, man? Like, what do you think about any of it?
Um, you say male loneliness. I think right now, as the current state, I think females be lonely too. You know what I'm saying? I think both genders go through it. It's a time period um, that you got to go through. I think everybody been there, and if you haven't been there, you're going to visit there one day, it's gonna suck. It's gonna feel bad, and I think it's necessary to get to that point. I think it's a must to be like that. If you haven't felt like that before, get ready because it's coming your way. Because the way I look at it, bro, the problem people have is, and I think we talked about it before. The problem people have is they don't like their own company. And see, when you always got a motherfucker with you, whether you're a woman or a man, you always got to have a relationship, even if it's a toxic one, even if it's toxic, you okay with that. You content because you like at least I ain't got to deal with it by myself. You know what I'm saying? At least I got somebody here with me, and that's that's a lot of females' main goal. They don't value healthy relationships. They don't value that shit. They only thing they value is I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be to myself. Any relationship is better than what I'm saying, better than being to themselves. So I think I think that's a mainframe thing right there. Um, when it comes to the men, I think it's a confidence thing. I think a lot of men that's in that boat is they lack a lot of confidence. They tolerate a lot of misbehavior, a lot of disrespect coming their way, and it's pretty much because they haven't trained their mind to think somewhat outside of the box. So, should I say? You gotta you gotta you gotta first get to know yourself and love yourself. I don't think it's healthy for anybody to be lonely if you by yourself. That is not right. It's not normal to be by yourself. I'm gonna put that on the table too. If you by yourself and for too long, you need to get a doctor. Something wrong. And put that on the table. You don't want to jump. I think but when I say too long, meaning over your time limit. I think everybody need a break. Let me also put that. Can I put a time limit on how long? Yeah, I can. I can put a time limit. Sometimes you might need a male. I'm gonna just start with a men per se, depending on what his past look like, what his track record look like. I'm gonna say you need at least a couple, maybe a year or 2 to 3, maybe. Depending on what state you in, to get yourself back on track, get yourself back together. If you ain't together mentally and you know emotionally and all of that, then you don't need to be in the dating market. You need to keep your ass working. You don't need to do that. You don't need to try to meet nobody if you that fucked up. You need to work on finding yourself. You need to work on loving yourself, and then what you might attract. You might search it. You're going to attract it to you anyway. But it starts with you. You can't you can't go in the dating pool and think that I'm gonna grab a superwoman or Superman and they gonna make everything better and make it all go away. Hell no, don't think like that. Because whoever you get got their own issues too. So you gotta come already assembled. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't working on your own happiness, that means you're unable to make somebody else happy because your happiness supposed to add to what they already got, their happiness. And then you make each other. That's how you make each other happy because they can see that you loving on yourself, and you can see that they loving on themselves, and you put that shit together. But if you fucked up and they happy, then you're a negative, and you're gonna drain that positive energy out because you're a whole negative motherfucker, and you ain't work on yourself, and you want somebody to charge your battery up, and you ain't even got your own plug. So that's what be going on out here. So if loneliness is the topic, then yeah, I think everybody need to hit that wall and get it out of the way. Everybody need to go through that because as most people out here that's in relationships, they don't even really uh, like their own company, and that's facts.
Like I said initially, most of us were lied to. I don't trust most apps. I don't trust most conversations that are discussed on social media simply because a lot of folks that have these discussions, they do it from a broken place. They do it out of bitterness. They do it from a first person point of view, meaning you don't know how to separate your personal choices and decisions from the overall reality, which is everyone is not like you. Everyone did not make the same decisions that you did. Some people actually got it right. Some people are absolutely in divine order with people that they should be with based on their practices and their ability to follow a specific guideline. Social media has told you that men ain't shit if they're being stoic. Social media told you that men ain't shit if they don't pay 100% of the bills. Social media told you that men want you to only be slaves and servants. So you have to rebel. And if you know what I'm talking about, I'll branch off of that and give you examples. Lil Webby with the INDEPE, the independent song, that was a song specifically, in my opinion, to indoctrinate this idea that you don't need a fucking dude. Destiny's Child. A lot of them songs, I don't what TLC. I don't want no scrubs, bugaboo. I get it. You don't want someone that can protect and take care of you. But where's the message within the song that says we take care of each other? That this is a union. This ain't about kicking you to the curb, kicking you out the whip because you don't know how to provide a specific service to me. Dudes that are in sales involuntarily, I said this again, them dudes don't understand, and I want to be perfectly clear to the men and women. Your purpose is to serve God first and foremost, above everybody else and anything else. God is supposed to be first. If God is not first, stop expecting anything to come to you positive or long lasting. Because what you're basically saying is, and this might be unpopular, you're saying that your desires and your needs and your wants come before the one who created you in the first place. So what do you think is going to happen? Money, sex, all that shit comes before the word. That means that you're of the world. You can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. The reason why a lot of women are struggling and the reason why men are struggling is because of a lot of the same, the same issues. The lack of knowledge. Or you get the knowledge and you don't know what to do with it. I told you right now, if you just worried about healing, going to therapy, looking in the mirror, stop blaming everybody else for your horrible, shitty attitude. You know you're a liar. You know that you're responsible for this shit. Don't stop putting it on everybody else. You're responsible for your part in this too. I told you to just do your homework, research, humble yourself, get it together, and start putting those pair of eyes on that allows you to see beyond just yourself. You will be so much better off. Why wouldn't you want to listen to that? These dudes think that they're insufficient. They think they are garbage. They're trash. They're this and that. And that might as well be true. Because if you could, first of all, if you can allow a man or a woman to dictate to you what God put in you, God didn't say that you were this or that. God don't look at none of us as average or too short, or we don't make enough of this, or we don't this, we don't. God doesn't treat us that way. The only people who treat each other that way are human beings. So if you are under the rule of humans and their opinions, then that's on you. Good luck going any further than this. You'll be stuck there. Like I said, y'all mad at the wrong people. Incels mad at the wrong people. The dudes that's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go somewhere else. They already understand. The women who I'm talking about the women, the ones that aren't playing sister code and all that shit, they know what's up too. It's only the ones that still operate from this worldly view that seem to not get it. And I yield the mic.
Yeah, man. I had something to say about yesterday. It was crazy. Um, of course, yesterday was the 4th of July. And 4th of July is supposed to be about a time you experience with your family and enjoy the festivities and all of that. But it hit me today when I looked at the festivities from last night, and I'm noticing how the younger generation don't know how to have a good time without it being some type of hell raising or some type of ratchet behavior going on, especially at an event like that. Um, what I want to say on that is going back, touching on back what you said. We have to be a little bit more obedient, man. You know, to that word, man, so we can kind of pass it down. I don't feel like it's being passed down right to the youngest. It's like what I observe is like they are enabling themselves to enjoy the moment without it being some type of chaos around them. It's like they robbing themselves of a good time. You know, we experience what parties and all of that, like the go-go events, and we go up in there. We want to hear our favorite band play, and it's a lot of hype going in there, and you just want to have a good time and enjoy yourself, but it's always some type of knucklehead or whatever that wants to you know be the bad apple. I'm gonna say that he want to stand out. He want to be the ugly duckling, stuff like that. So basically, what I'm saying is, I think they need to be taught and shown a good time, to appreciate a good time, to learn how to have a good time. Because that right there, you shouldn't be in no type of chaos when you should just be enjoying the event itself. To me, being happy, you know what I'm saying? You know, doing stuff with your loved ones, with your friends, with people you care about. It shouldn't be no trouble. Then police got involved. It even came down to somebody getting hit with the water hose like back in the day. I'm looking at stuff like that. Like sometimes if you don't learn from the past, history do repeat itself, ladies and gentlemen. It come right on your doorstep. Something that you might have seen when you was a toddler or a young boy, young girl, it comes back as an older lady or older man because people are not learning. People are not learning from the past. They're not learning from their mistakes. So you see it again. And that's why I believe also when somebody make a mistake, when somebody get it wrong, you purposely be put in that position again to make the correction. So it's not the issue is not that you had the problem. It's more so, or what are you going to do about it? Like, are you going to get the lesson, or you gonna repeat the behavior? So I think people need to kind of pay attention to that. I think everybody goes through a hardship somewhere down the line in life, but what you get out of it is what gets you to go forward in life. So you got to take your losses on the chin and come out with a bigger lesson in the end. See, the lesson is if you be put in that position again, I know what to do now. I'm gonna do this instead of that. So going back to that scene with those young kids, they was teenagers, by the way, and we be having teenagers get missing. We be having teenagers that be fighting, killing, and all of that, and just doing stuff that is unnecessary. And it's because of they're not being taught from the past generations on how to do something simple just to have a good time. That simple, without it being some type of chaos or some type of jail time coming your way. They don't know how to enjoy a time and be with some harmony without it being some type of destruction or that coming their way. You know what I'm saying? So I think it started in the mind, of course. It's a mentality, but I don't think that the older generation is explaining those things correctly, and the younger crowd is going out into the public without a direction, and it's a place for them. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to fall in the system these days with all the little rules that's being changed. If you haven't done it, you just start checking that law book. Stuff is getting switched up. So start looking at these changes because it's here. The change is here, and we gotta move better, people. We gotta move accordingly. That's sad. You can't even sit down and you know light your fireworks in peace. You know what I'm saying, and have a good time no more without it being some type of argument. I think somebody had got in an argument and lost their life. You know what I'm saying, because they're not being careful with how they light their fireworks, and now we got to bring a weapon involved. So um, that's just something to think about, because going forward, change is already here. So if people don't adapt and cooperate, then they're gonna be tripped up, man. So just read up on these new laws and these new rules to the game, man, because it's here. It's going viral. You got it.
I think a lot of people are so stuck in their ways. I had the mic muted. My bad. I think people are so fixated on this is the only way I won't hear or have anything else. Don't try to teach me nothing new. You're not my dad and you're not my mom. I'm not available. Nobody's home. Don't come over here trying to sell me none of your crap. Because I ain't interested. This is what I am used to. This is what I know. And this is how I'm going to keep on doing things. But you see how far that gets you. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. If you are someone who is frustrated and you're trying to figure it out, it's time to slow down. It's time to remove some distractions. Don't let nobody else check your attitude or your ego. Check your own attitude and ego. Go to that space that only you know about. Humble yourself. And understand that people do lie. Everything on the internet ain't the truth. Some people have good intentions. There are other people, they only want to monetize off of you because they know that you're desperate and you're willing to do anything to get the answers that you desire. Folks scrambling, typing. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And guess what? For every one of you that's doing that, there are a few dozen that are doing like this. Hello, over here. I got a billboard that says, this is how to do this. This is how to do that. And it looks appealing. It comes off as if it's genuine. They have your best interest at heart. Until you realize that it's really just a money grab for them. Their only mission is to play on your feelings. Their only mission is to use you to absorb a abundance of time and energy, propelling them to higher reaches, bringing in more people like yourself who operate with the same ideals and morals. So if you're a hard-headed person that only likes to listen to people who are also hard-headed, well, they got somewhere for you to go. If you are a 304 that tries to rationalize being a 304, guess what? They have a market for you too. If you are someone who wants truth and you don't care if you get scolded, guess what? There's a market for you too. They have something for everyone. The men and women who are fighting amongst each other day in and day out about duties, roles, and all that, guess what? They have a market for you too. And it works. And it's been working for years and years and years. But how many people you know that's going to be completely unbiased and tell you, look, this shit started with your family, man. Your family was inadequate in doing what they were supposed to be doing. They allowed that spirit to pass from them to you. Nobody stopped it. Social media capitalized off of it. They turned it into a monopoly. The whole lonely man crisis. The conversation is by design. Men are either not good enough for you, and they just on the waiting list fighting for their life, or they are finding other options. You know, this is a big world. And every woman out here and every man out here, it is not, they're not moving with the intentions on fucking somebody over or ruining their life. That's why you hear about passport bros. That's why you hear about dating outside the race. It ain't got nothing to do with the color. But I do want to say, date whoever the hell you want. But it ain't got nothing to do with that. It's about the type of person you are, the type of human being you are in general. You can be attractive all you want. If you got a horrible ass spirit and personality, don't nobody want to deal with that. Just saying. But these men that y'all call incels and y'all clown them and these simps, especially you motherfuckers, y'all don't know who y'all are. You can't. You can't. It's impossible. If you knew who you were, you wouldn't. None of these OnlyFans models would be millionaires. The porn industry wouldn't be what it is today. But that goes for women too, because women watch that shit too. Not as much as men, but they watch too. But if it wasn't for you catering, like if you knew who you really were as a man of God, if you were like walking that, you wouldn't be getting finessed like this. These women wouldn't make the living that they make off of you if you knew who you were. But you don't. So they continue to have the attitude that they have. That's why they are so dismissive of you. And that's why you're bitter. You see, you're not really mad at the woman, you're mad at yourself. You're mad at yourself because you don't know who the hell you are. You don't have no identity separated from the gratification and acknowledgement of a fucking tweet or a like. That's the problem. If you was making money, if you was doing deals and shaking hands, and you was seeing the world in different cultures, and you were experiencing, like I give you one example. I have not been on an airplane. I have not been across and seen other foreign countries yet, but I've spoken to many of foreigners, Afghanian, African, Portuguese. I've spoken to a number of different men and women that have come from their countries to over here, and the way that they carry themselves, not all of them, but the majority of them, the way that they talk, the way that they view the world, the way that they view life and relationships, and you can tell they haven't been mentally, spiritually gentrified. A lot of y'all brains are fried, man, roasted completely. So once you get a taste of what it's like not being distorted by, imagine you spend 30 years of your life, all you know is the street. All you know is booty shorts and sleeping with the neighborhood drug dealer, and all you know for 30 years is being ratchet and loud and obnoxious as shit. But then you go to London, you go to Bermuda or some shit, and they don't act nothing like that. They don't talk nothing like that. The way that they respect family, the way that they have values and things like, don't even look like these people over here. Their families are huge. You go to a neighborhood over here, their neighborhood, their barbecues are dwindling, drive-bys and shit. Huge cultural differences. The world is bigger than just what you know and what you see. That's exactly why I never put myself in a specific box. And a lot of you dudes out here, man, that you don't know yourself. I think right now is probably time for you to figure some shit out, man. The world doesn't determine your value, God does. But if you want to live worldly, you're going to keep getting it. I yield the mic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that last part, man. I think men have to put the work in, man. They was born to put the work in. You got to put the work in to increase your own value, it starts with a self reflection of yourself, man. People gotta be honest and deal with where they're at currently in life, man, and then work towards wherever you're at, to get to wherever you want to go. But I do want to touch on what's that? The simp culture. I want to touch on the simp culture real quick. When it comes to this dating pool, and it's a lot of pee in it, and the reason why it's a lot of pee in it because we got the simp culture out here, man. They they really messed it up for guys who done the work for themselves and actually better they are better suitors for themselves. Why? Because of what you touched on. Because you did the work. That means you know who you are, you know yourself, and uh, simps don't really have that concept. They really they're just there to please and pretty much be a doormat for these ladies, man. And the ladies that they choosing to do this with is they're not really great suitors for the most part. They're average. They haven't done the work. You see what I'm saying? So both parties have to do the work, and I think it's easier for a female to get one of those type of guys because they're they're only there to benefit only their needs. It's a one sided type of deal. It's one sided relationship. It's not. They don't give them no type of benefits. They pretty much drain their pockets, drain their attention. You know, you don't when you if you in simp culture, you don't when you leave walk away, you don't feel like a man at all. I'm gonna say that the whole time. And what I mean by that is if you guys are supposed to pour into each other, but if you're one of those, you promote simp culture, your cup stay on E. Your cup stay empty because you always pouring into that woman, but that woman don't respect you enough to pour in. She probably won't even give you a sip of hers. You see what I'm saying? So once because of all that's happening, once somebody get into the picture that's understands their worth and know their value and all that, and ready to go places, it puts that guy in a conflict because of these simp cultures put a bad mentality to these women, man, and their mentality is not ready to accept what they need to accept. And that's what be going on out here when you get with somebody, they used to, doing stuff a certain way, you see what I'm saying, because they was allowed to do it. And when it's time to do it the appropriate way, they don't look at it as being appropriate. They look at it like, I was able to get my way with this, that, and the third, and you're gonna be the fourth. And that's what's out here. That's why it's a lot of pee in the water. There's a lot of pee out there, man, and we gotta undo that by focusing on ourselves, um, learning who we are and learning what we bring to the game. We definitely gotta know off bat what we bring to the table. And when you unsure yourself as a man, then you need to go find out why you unsure. Pretty much, you gotta figure that out. Um, Shit, take a trip, get some counseling, something, because once you get into that water and you start intermingling and tangling with the opposite, man, all that's supposed to be up front, and that's gonna put a standstill in your progress and what you supposed to get with your worth. So if you're unsure of yourself, that means as a man, your worth, you don't know your worth. You don't know your worth, then you don't know what to expect. And if you don't know what to expect, that means you take disrespect. And if you take disrespect, that means you gonna be feeling way down here. And that's not where you don't want to be at. You don't want to be right down there. And if you don't know, if you unsure of yourself, you don't know your worth, how the hell you expect that woman to know how to treat you? Because you don't even know how to treat you. You see what I'm saying? So it comes back to learning yourself and fixing that mentality, man. So once you fix your mainframe, you are able to receive the benefits of you. But simp culture is a hindrance. I'm gonna say that they are a hindrance of what what the true male experience should be like. They are a hindrance of that shit. They toxic. They the cancer of the dating pool, because if they wasn't around, we both can benefit off each other the way it should be. But because they are around, it's always a one side of the fence. So um, pretty much touching back on what you said earlier, I agree. Men should focus on who they are first before they enter that field, because you're gonna be going up against a tough challenge with the simp culture still existing. You got it.
It's the land of no accountability. You got simp culture and you got feminism, you got social media, you got a slew of platforms that cater to a specific group of folks that are under duress. Question: would you know if you were under duress? Would you know if you were being manipulated? Would you know? I mean, We just having a regular conversation. But this is what it usually sounds like to the ears of people who are stuck in their own ways anyway. And what I mean is, we could have this same discussion, but we could be bashing men and bashing women. But it would say, but would you know what was really going on? Would you be able to discern the difference? See, there's a difference between what we're doing and what the sim culture is doing. But it sounds like a regular average. I take it a step further. 6, you have, over the course of the last 3 years, I am positive that you have been a part of a lot of discussions from various platforms that have spoken negatively and positively on subjects like this. Can you discern the difference between who is moving in the right direction with the right ulterior motives? Or are you still confused, as in you can't distinguish between one versus the other? Which one is playing puppet master and the other one is actually trying to set you free?
Yeah, I mean, if you watched enough footage and you've seen enough examples of that stuff, you should be able to separate the two. Yeah. So if you're asking me direct, yeah, I believe I can separate the two when I see it for sure. I've seen it happen. I'm still seeing it. But the other issue is what happened when you didn't see it. So you got to think about it when you didn't see it and when you didn't pick it up. Um, knowing stuff is half the battle. I know you heard about that. That's half the battle. The other half is once you know what do you intend to do about the information that you know about. It's not going it's still gonna be examples of what you just broke down. It's gonna happen again. And then what? The only thing that you can really be responsible for and do is approach stuff differently. Once you get the right information or once you gain knowledge of this type of stuff. But if you're not aware, yeah, it's a whole lot of manipulation out here. A whole lot of what I'm saying, disrespect and stuff that we see on a daily basis. Um, you're gonna be tested. That's just what it is. Well, this is whether you know it or not. You're gonna be tested. That's not gonna change. So let's put that on the table. And when you get into the meat and potatoes of this dating thing of back and forth, what a woman should get from a man and what a man should get in return from a woman, you got to be on top of your shit. That's just what it is. To give you an example, don't no real woman out here if you on your p's and q's and you really interested in a guy that you like or whatever, you don't have no damn business using that man off the muscle. You don't. You are false for that. You are fraudulent if you do something like that. If you're a woman and you come in the door and you're having all these demands about what this, that, and the third, that's a sign of a red flag, man. That's called that's called bait. You know, you don't come in to nothing like that. And see, that's to me, that's like a simp culture trap. Like simp, you know what I'm saying, will go ahead and be that fish and take that bait and go ahead and you can reel him on in. That's cool. But nah, that's not that's not how you should play that. And then men also, you know, gotta know what to expect from a woman too. Not always heading into the situation like, what they have to do, this, that, and the third. You supposed to, as a man, you supposed to already have your stuff in order. I think I said it before. Have all your ducks lined up in a row. You need to be disciplined. Um, you need to be responsible, and you need to be an example of that. Now, that woman, whoever she may be, she's she's supposed to see that from you. That should be the standout, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not on top of your game as a man, that allows stuff to get in there to you. That's just what it is. If you got holes in your game, then you know you're gonna be tested. You know, and why are you gonna be tested? Because we got to see if this is the real thing or not. And whether dudes like to admit it or not, or they understand it or not, uh, women do like to test men. It's a known fact that you're going to get tested. Now, what you do with the test, it determines where you're at that point with the test. But yeah, are women going to come and try to test you? Yeah, that's facts. But it's up to that guy, whoever that guy is. It's up to him to know realize he's being tested, and to know what to do when the tests come up. Because everybody that got tested, past or present, everybody, including myself, have failed the test. Everybody fails the test at some point. Ain't nobody can get on here and say, I got it right off the muscle. That is bullshit. So it's about you recognizing who you're dealing with and what you're going up against. Everybody ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? They might test differently, but I'm just saying, to distinguish the two, when it comes down to distinguish the two, whether you're getting something good or whether you're getting something bad, that's going to come with your track record and your experiences and what you as a man or a woman had to deal with. Because if you already had experiences, then you're gonna probably do better the next time around. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I got on that, man.
My final thoughts on this: is there a crisis? I don't think it's necessarily a crisis. I think all of this is foreseen and prophetic. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know all of this was eventually going to happen eventually. Just slowly, we are chipping away at what little humanity we got left. And it's only going to get worse because most people refuse to liberate themselves, be honest about what's happening on both sides, and do something about it. Ladies, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for with the attitude that you got. Fellas, same goes with you. Stay the path that you want, or come to a place where you decide that this ain't working. I need to change it up and do something different. Sticking to that routine ain't it. And that's okay. Shout outs to everybody who pulled up. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. You got any final words before we go? Because we got another stream tonight, but I just want to give you a chance to.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be brief with this, but touching back on the loneliness, is it an outrage? I'm gonna go back and say it's not normal for a male to be to herself for a long period of time. Um, like I say, females, they don't really like being to themselves, but I'm gonna say on both parts, like I said, it's necessary. If depending on your situation, whoever you are, give yourself a time to be to yourself, a period of time to yourself to deal with to deal with any past situations or whatever you got to go through to get yourself back on track, because this field right here, there's some serious work out here, and I just think everybody need to be on their best, at their best that they can be, before they go back in there, have a clear mind, mainly the mentality for this, and emotional intelligence, emotional awareness of what may come. Be mainly mature, pretty much. I just think people need to take that time out to mature and forward progress. So that's what I got on that, man. But we got another one. You say we got another one later, huh?
Yeah.
What's gonna be the name of that one?
I don't remember the title. You're gonna have to get with me afterwards. I gotta go and set the thumbnail up for that shit. It's a goodie. Yeah, bro, I'm at this laptop damn near 8 hours a day. So some shit stuck my mind, but it's a goodie. It's a goodie.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. It's food for thought. I don't think everybody needs the same time period, but I think everybody needs to take time out, like I said, to focus on themselves first. Get yourself together first, and then you'll be all right.
Yeah, that too. Don't chase after shit. Anything that's for you, if anything that's for you is going to be there regardless.
Yeah, you don't need to force anything. That's for sure.
But we out, man. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Do me a solid before you go.
What's the goddamn button?
Appreciate y'all. See y'all later this evening.
Cause I'm out. inside, we're gonna be outside.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I, my ancestors speak, they tell me they're tighter than praying on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak, until they think we are equal. Please, all I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their palms would bleed, begging that generations remember.